I love physics with all my heart. It is a kind of personal love as one has for a person to whom one is grateful for many things. A very good morning, children. We'll continue with the physics lessons. The world is largely known through the senses. The sense of sight is one of the most important senses. Through it, we see mountains, rivers, trees, plants, chairs, people, and so many other things around us. We also see clouds, rainbows, and birds flying in the sky. At night, we see the moon and the stars. Have you ever thought how we see the various objects? Here are few questions which was given for you to find the answers. What makes things visible to us? Eyes helps us to see the objects around us. When a light enters our eyes, we see the objects around us. Can we see the objects in the dark? Of course not. We cannot see the objects in the dark because of absence of light. Why do fingers appear blurred when we move our hand very fast in front of our eyes? That is due to persistence of vision. So by these answers, you must have guessed that the next chapter is about light. Nothing is visible in the dark. We see this colorful and beautiful world around us when there is light. Even if there is light, we cannot see with our eyes closed. Thus, both light and the eyes are necessary to see the things around us. So let's appreciate the light. So today's chapter is about light. We will learn what is light, how the images are formed, what are the phenomenon reflection, dispersion, and human eye, and about blindness in this chapter. To begin with, what is light? Light is a kind of electromagnetic radiation which enables us to see the objects around us. Sources of light. The sun is the main source of light. The sources of light can be categorized as natural light and artificial light. Natural light is the source which exists naturally. For example, sun. Sun stars are able to produce their own light. They are called as luminous bodies. Whereas artificial light is man-made, such as candles, lamps, matchbox, etc. Natural sources: sun, stars, lightning, fire, firefly, volcanoes give us light naturally. Artificial sources, man-made sources are called as artificial sources such as bulb, candle, lighthouse, torch, traffic lights. Let's know few points about light. Light, how do we define light? Light is a form of energy. It is called as energy because it creates the sensation of vision. Without light, we cannot see this beautiful world. Therefore, we term light as an energy. It is a form of energy. It enables us to see the world or to see this beautiful world or the environment around us. Have you ever seen light? No, nobody has seen light, but we are able to see the objects because of light. Therefore, we can say light itself is invisible but makes other things visible. Light always travels in straight lines. This property of light is called as rectilinear propagation of light. You can see simple experiments to demonstrate that light always travels in a straight line. What you need to do is take 3 cardboards, make holes in the cardboards so that all the holes are in a straight line. Allow a candle light or a torch light to pass through the holes. You can see the light passes through the holes. Then secondly, make the holes in the second cardboard little upwards. It's not collinear with the holes which are in the first and the third one. Then you cannot see the light passing through the holes. This simple experiment says that light always travels in straight line. You can very well see that the pipe what she is holding here, you can see the light when it is straight. When it is bent a little, light gets blocked. You cannot see the light. So like this you have many more simple experiments which demonstrates that light always travels in straight lines. This property of light is called as rectilinear propagation of light. The main source of light energy and heat energy is sun. So all the activities that is carried out on the earth is because of sunlight. So the light from the sun takes about 8 minutes to reach the earth. The speed of light is 3 into 10 to the power of 8 meters per second. Light exhibits dual nature. It plays a double role. What is double role? Sometimes it is a tiny particle or sometimes it acts as a wave. So thus it exhibits two nature. One is as a particle, the other one is as a wave. Light waves are transverse in nature. What do you mean by transverse wave? Transverse waves are those waves where the particles of the medium vibrate perpendicularly to the wave propagation. So light waves are transverse in nature. Light waves can travel through all the medium as well as in vacuum. It can pass through solids, liquids, gaseous particles as well as it can pass through vacuum. Whenever the light enters from one medium to another, the velocity of the light changes. Light undergoes many phenomena such as reflection, refraction, dispersion, diffraction, interference and so on. In this chapter, you will be studying about reflection and dispersion of light. The branch of physics that deals with the study of nature, source, properties and effect of light is called optics. Next, mirrors produce images because the light that strikes them is reflected rather than absorbed. Reflected light does much more than produce dramatic and beautiful pictures. However, for example, it allows our sense of vision to be remarkably useful. When we see an object, light from it enters our eyes and evokes the sensation of vision. Some objects themselves produce the light that we see, such as sun. Most of the objects, though, reflect into our eyes light that originates elsewhere, and if it were not for reflection, we would not be able to see them. The reflection of light is also useful in the functioning of modern day equipments such as laser printers. So we will study about what is reflection. Bouncing back of light rays from a smooth polished surface is called as reflection of light. Reflection is seen from a smooth and highly polished surface. Light falling on a mirror or any shiny surface is bounced back. Whenever the light rays strike a smooth polished surface, then such as mirror, you can see, then the phenomenon reflection of light takes place. This is known as reflection of light. Whenever reflection takes place, it obeys two laws of reflection. Let us say this is the mirror. It is a smooth polished surface. Many number of light rays strike on the surface of the mirror. Let us consider one of the ray. The ray which is striking the surface of the mirror is called as incident ray. You can see the arrow at here pointing towards the mirror. When it strikes the mirror, it gets or it is sent back into the same medium which is called as reflected ray. You can see the arrow head moving away from the mirror. Whenever this phenomenon happens, it obeys two laws. The ray which is approaching the mirror is called as incident ray. The ray which is moving away from the mirror is called as reflected ray. The rays which are normal are perpendicular to the mirror. So this ray is perpendicular to the mirror, hence it is called as normal incidence of light. With the incident ray and the normal, you have a formation of angle here which is called as angle of incidence. The angle formed by the normal and the reflected ray is called as angle of reflection. So what does the two laws states? It states that the incident ray, the normal, the reflected ray, and this is the point of incidence. All these lie in the same plane. Angle of incidence. This is the angle of incidence represented by small I, and angle of reflection small r. Angle of incidence is always equal to angle of reflection. These are the two laws of reflection, which says that the incident ray, the normal and the reflected ray at the point of incidence all lie in the same plane. The angle of incidence is equal to the angle of reflection. Types of reflection. When a ball is thrown to strike on a smooth surface, the direction of rebound can be judged easily. But if the ground is uneven, covered with pebbles, then the direction of the rebound of the ball will be different at different times. Same is the case with light. Reflection of light from a smooth surface is regular reflection, whereas a number of rays in a beam of light are reflected back as a beam, and all the rays in the incident and the reflected beam remain parallel to each other. The rays of light received on a mirror are reflected and received on a wall or a screen as a bright spot. By tilting the mirror, the reflected spot can be obtained in a desired position on the screen. Reflection of light from a rough surface is irregular reflection, and no reflected spot is obtained on the screen. The light falling upon a rough surface gets scattered in all directions, giving rise to diffusion of light. There are two types of reflection: regular reflection, irregular reflection. Regular reflection is also known as specular reflection, whereas irregular reflection is known as diffuse reflection. Whenever regular reflection takes place, it is on a smooth polished surface, whereas irregular reflection takes place on a rough surface. In case of regular reflection, the incident rays are parallel and reflected rays are also parallel. And whenever regular reflection takes place, there is a formation of clear image. Whereas in irregular reflection, even though the incident rays are parallel, the reflected rays are not parallel. As a result, you have diffuse image or distorted image is formed. For example, if the water is very calm, you can see your own image in the water. Disturb the water layer gets disturbed and you cannot see your image. This is an example for regular reflection and irregular reflection. You can see the image of these buildings, which is known as specular reflection. Here you can see distorted image is formed because of diffuse reflection. Remember, only in the case of regular or specular reflection, you have the formation of images. Whereas diffused light, which is produced due to which is formed due to irregular reflection, enables us to see the objects around us. Light up the darkness. Let's your light shine. In order for the light to shine so brightly, the darkness must be present. So that's all for the class. Happy Deepavali. Let's celebrate a peaceful, happy and green Deepavali. Let's go green. Let's save planet Earth by saying no to crackers. Thank you, children.